becoming a great business owner is different than being great at the job of the business. Being a great dentist doesn't make you a great owner of a dental business, if that makes sense. And so we teach people how to be a business owner and build a business that works so you don't have to.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
Welcome to another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. I'm Jay Conner, your host, also known as the Private Money Authority, and this is the show where we talk about raising private capital without ever having to ask for money. There's no applications. You do your own underwriting. And how do we do that? By putting on our teacher hat and exposing people in our own networks as to how they can get high rates of return safely and securely. Well, here on the show, Raising Private Money, I have amazing guests come here and join me, and we talk about all topics relating to real estate investing. But you know, you've heard me say many, many times the phrase, it's hard to own real estate until you own the real estate between your ears. And my guest today has raised tens of millions of dollars in private money, and he's about in just a moment to give you a checkup from the neck up to make sure that your mindset is right. Well, my friend and guest, he's internationally known as one of the most influential entrepreneurs. He's a best-selling author, keynote speaker. He's one of the very best business coaches in the world. And over the course of his 30-year career as an entrepreneur, he's become the CEO of over 9 companies. He's the owner of a multi-million-dollar franchise, which is called Action Coach. And so my dear friend is going to really get underneath the hood, as we call it, get inside your mind. Have you ever had that self-talk to where you asked yourself the question, am I really going to make it? Can I make it as an entrepreneur? Or maybe you've been an entrepreneur for some time and you're hitting some roadblocks. Maybe you're having some difficulty with cash flow. Well, my guest can fix your cash flow in a matter of minutes by talking with you about the principles that actually work that he has shared with so many other business owners for so many years. In just a moment, right after this, you're going to meet my good friend and guest, Mr. Brad Sugar. Well, hello there, Brad, and welcome to the show, my friend.
G'day, Jay. Good to be here.
Good day. I mean, you say good day, Jay, like, you know, a perfect Australian or something. Right?
Yeah, I don't know if there's such a thing as a perfect Australian. We're all a bit of a joker at some level, I guess. We have a lot of fun, us Aussies. That's the way life's supposed to be, isn't it?
Perhaps I should say my guest with the perfect Australian accent. How about that? I'll leave it to the accent. Well, Brad, you have just got a plethora of different topics you can talk about, from, you know, business coaching, wealth and finance, life coaching, advertising, increasing profits. I mentioned cash flow in the intro.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have been a business coach. You are a business coach to some pretty high profile people. But when you boil it all down, what would you say that your really top 2 or 3 expertise subjects are?
Oh, number one would be building wealth through business. So like, you know, you teach people about raising capital to buy real estate. I teach a lot of people about raising capital and to buy businesses. So where I buy companies, fix companies, and sell companies. I buy and oftentimes I'll keep them, though. If I build them to a point where they run under management, I don't need to be involved other than maybe a monthly board meeting. I'll keep those. So that would be number one, building wealth through it. And so that's where my book, Billionaire in Training, we take people through the ladder of how you actually learn that, because it's the learning part that's the hardest part of business success. The second would be about how to create a business that actually runs without you. So we've, through Action Coach, we've coached over 280,000 business people how to build a business. And so we coach, we educate, and teach them that sort of stuff, because becoming a great business owner is different than being great at the job of the business. Being a great dentist doesn't make you a great owner of a dental business, if that makes sense. And so we teach people how to be a business owner and build a business that works so you don't have to. Third, probably marketing. Marketing is one of my absolute favorite things, because it's, the lifeblood of a business is get them and keep them. Get customers, keep customers, get team members, keep team members. So getting them and keeping them would probably be, and that was my latest book, actually, Raise Your Hand Marketing, so that people understand what marketing is to just get someone to say, hey, I'm interested. And then phase 2 of marketing is to get them to say, hey, I'm ready. So yeah, I think that's probably the 3 main areas. But I teach on success all the time, Jay. And, as you're very well aware, mindset is a massive part of people's success.
I believe it's at least 90% of the success. You can have all the knowledge, you can have all the know what to do, what not to do, etc. But unless you've got the mindset to implement, there's the key word, implement, or take action. So let's just start right there, Brad. I mean, you've coached and led a lot of people through your organization, build businesses, etc. What are the attributes? What kind of mindset does a business owner need to have in order to survive and thrive?
Yeah, it's interesting because, phase 1 of business is survival, phase 2 is thrive type thing. But I teach success in a 5-step formula: dream, goal, learn, plan, action. So take your dreams first. And, W. Somerset Maugham, I think, put it best when he said, nothing if not at first a dream. Not a little bit, it's just nothing. If you don't dream, and, some people say to me, well, I don't know what I want in my dreams. You kind of do, but let's work the opposite methodology. Write down everything you don't want, and then I don't want to be broke. Great. What's the opposite of that? I want to have 10 million in the bank, and I want to have 100 million in net assets, or, even $1 million in the bank and $1 million in net assets. Whatever your number is, you've got to define your dreams, because if you don't have massive dreams, there's no need to do your best. There's no need to perform at your best. There's no need to grow. Dreams then, dreams are 10 to 20 years out. You don't know when they're going to happen. You don't know how they're going to happen. And as my good friend, Professor Alan Pease puts it, how is often the killer of dreams and goals. People write down a goal and they say, well, how am I going to do that? Well, I don't know how, so therefore it can't be a goal. No. That's not the way goals work. So your dreams are 10 to 20 years out. Your goals are within 5 years, sort of thing. And by the way, the most important goal isn't the 5-year goal, it's the 1-day goal. So what are your goals tomorrow? If you don't know what your goal is for the 1 day, see, if you hit your daily goals, then you hit your weeklies. If you hit your weeklies, you hit your monthlies, hit your annuals, and so on. But it's the daily goal and the daily plan that is the most important plan and the most important goal. So goals, and I'll give you an example from my life, Jay. When I was, now you remember Mr. Rohn. Well, I met Mr. Rohn when I was 16 years of age, Brisbane City Town Hall, took all the notes, ran down to him afterwards, got him to sign my notes. 31, I was actually his opening act in Sydney, Australia, in front of 5,000 people. And I showed him my notes again at 31. And he said, yes, these are amazing. Please call me Jim. I said, yes, Mr. Rohn. But as Mr. Rohn taught me at 16, you got to set these goals. And so I set goals to retire at 25, because also Mr. Rohn said, retirement's not a function of age, it's a function of finances. So here I was, 16 years of age, set a goal to retire at 25. And I told some of my friends, and of course, one of my friends told his dad, and his dad decided that he had to sit me down and lecture me as to how that can't happen, won't happen, and especially won't happen for me. And technically his dad was right. 16-year-old me did not know how to do that, could not do that. But what he didn't acknowledge, and what most people don't think about, is that I could grow. I could learn, I could study. And so as I did that, I learned, grew, and studied, made my first million before I was 22. Got to be at a point of, actually, it took me 26. I tried to retire. I actually had the business running, cash flow. I'd sold companies on retainer. So I had money coming in with it. I lasted 3 weeks in retirement. I played golf with my dad. He was the only other retired person I knew. After 3 weeks in retirement, I was like, this is insane. I need to do stuff. I love being busy. I love doing things. So I went from retirement to rehirement and got back to investing rather than just making the money. I started to manage what I made. So dreams, then goals, then it comes to learning. And this is the part I think that you do really well, Jay, but other people don't. They don't give themselves the time to actually study their goals and learn how. Like if someone said to you, you got to run a marathon, people would say, okay, it's going to take me 6 or 12 months to practice, to train, to change my diet, to get a mentor. People know that they've got to give themselves time. But when they set a goal of wealth, or they set a goal of doubling their income, or they set a goal of building a real estate portfolio or growing their own business, for some strange reason, they don't give themselves learning time. The reason to set the goal is to define the books you got to read, the podcasts you got to listen to, the mentors you got to get, the groups you got to join. You set the goal to define the learning. Then from the learning, you write the plan. And then from the plan, you go to work. Most people go from set the goal, go to work. It doesn't work that way. If you could have achieved the goal with your current knowledge, you already would have. So gain the knowledge, write the plan, then get to work. So dreams times goals times learning times plans times actions equals success.
I love it. And that's what you call, I believe, the 5 success factors, right?
Yeah, so that formula for success, those 5 success factors, I love, we do a success score. People can go on my website and do the success score and find out where they're at, and then find out what are the factors they can do to improve their chances of success in life. I think success is kind of an elusive thing for a lot of people, and I guess it's because they don't know how, and that's, people become wealthy by listening to you. They become successful by reading, studying, learning. That's what we want people to do.
So I was on your show, which, by the way, you have an amazing show as well. Go ahead and tell everybody the name. What's the name of your podcast?
It's the Big Success Podcast. All we do is ask people who are successful, how did you get successful? What did you do? And it's amazing when you listen, and we just put out our 100th episode. It's amazing when you listen to 100 successful people about how did they get successful. There's clues.
Yes. Well, how about give my audience a few clues? What are some of the trends that you have, or the threads that you have noticed that have woven through your 100 interviews of successful people?
Number one, they're learners. They are learners. Always every single person has talked about how much they had to learn. Number two, they have mentors at some level, whether it's a teacher, whether it's by books, whether it's by courses, but they have mentors at some level or coaches at some level. Number three, they have a giving mentality. They want to give first, receive second. That mentality, that way of going about things, whether it's giving great service in their business, whether it's giving value first and receiving second, whether it's over delivering on whatever their business does, but there's definitely that giving mentality. And I think the fourth one, which sort of very few of them actually say it, but it's just woven into it, and that is, your word is your bond. Do things with integrity. You've got one chance at this thing called relationships with the world, and one chance at holding that way you are perceived. So make sure you do a good job at it.
So I got 3 of them. So recap them again. Number 1 was what?
Learners.
Learning. Yeah. Have
a mentor, coach, someone that'll push you, someone that'll cajole you, someone that'll make you do things that are uncomfortable, that you don't want to do, but you have to do them to be successful.
Yeah.
Number three, give value, and number four, do it with integrity. And
I love it. I love it.
And it's funny though, Jake, they've all taken such massively different paths to get to success. The path isn't really what matters. What matters is how we approach it, I think, is probably the big thing.
Yes. Success, in my opinion, is a very vague word because success can mean so many different things to so many people. Most often, when we say here in America, oh, well, they're successful. Well, they are probably referring to what people can see, their visual wealth, their assets that maybe other people think they own when they don't even own them. They rent them, right? You can never judge a book by its cover. But you've interviewed all these people. So when you boil it down, you personally, Brad, what's your personal definition of success, and how do you know you have attained it, if you can?
Yeah, it's interesting because pretty much everyone I've spoken to on this subject, their definition has evolved over their lifetime. As a young man, my definition was definitely about the physical assets, having the cars and the watches and the all the things. And interestingly enough, when I got to the phase of having all of the things, it was like, is this what success is? What I've learned since is that success is really about the feeling of fulfillment. It's about feeling fulfilled. And what fills your cup will be different over your lifetime. Before I was a dad, I didn't know how much that would fill my cup, having great kids. And, now I have 5 kids. That level of fulfillment is very high. That fills my cup. And there's times where it's like, I could go to work and go and do that. Someone just wanted me to go and do a speech in Dubai. And I'm like, you know what? No, that's my kid's birthday. I'm not going to go. I'm going to be with my kid because that's what's more important to me. So success really comes down to what's important to you. And at different phases in life, different things are going to be important to you. And knowing that your fulfillment is a priority and feeling fulfilled will lead to more success. If you're doing a job you hate, you're not going to experience fulfillment. Therefore, you're not going to feel successful. Whereas if you, people often ask me, are you saying I should quit my job and go do something else? Yes, I am. If you hate what you're doing, go do something else. As the great Jim Rohn said, you're not a tree, you can move. It comes back to, Jay, really about being fulfilled in life. And that's, I'm very lucky in that in my company, Action Coach, we have 1,000 and something offices. It's just under 1,100 offices in 84 countries now. And we coach business people, and everywhere I go, they get to tell me, thank you for doing what you do. I feel great about the work we get to do every day, helping people increase their cash flow and build a better asset in their business.
Would you say most of your clients are individuals who are wanting to start a business and they want to start it right? Or would you say most of your clients already have a business and they want it to run better or have it stop running them?
Yeah, most of them that are our clients at Action Coach are the business owners. But at the Brad Sugars brand, I take the other group, where I take those who want to start their own business and teach them what it takes and what it looks like to start your own business. Because where we see business fitting into the wealth equation is twofold. Number one, cash flow. Cash flow is a very massive part of all wealth, not cash, but cash flow, having the flow of money. And, independence or freedom comes when that cash flows, whether you're doing the work or not. And business is by far the highest return cash flow generator for the right type of people. And when I say the right type of people, you've got to have that entrepreneurial flair and you've got to want to do that thing. There's a lot of people that prefer to have that safety of a job, and that's brilliant. I love that there's a lot of people that love that. But The cash flow side of it is it, and then obviously building a business that you can sell. Every business person will have an exit at some point, you know, and whether they like it or not, it'll either be in a pine box or it can be an exit where you sell that thing to someone and get paid handsomely for building a great asset.
Yes. Well, that's great advice right there, Brad. So I'm gonna give you a very broad question, so you can answer this whichever way you want to go. But I know your answer is going to be very valuable to all of our listeners, particularly those that are wanting to start a business or those that are already running a business. You know, you sort of alluded to this when we started out. And you know, I am a real estate investor. I primarily fix and flip single family houses. I've done commercial as well, shopping centers, et cetera, but single family. So there's a huge difference in being a real estate investor and doing deals and doing transactions and running a real estate investing company. Two completely different aspects. With that in mind, what are some common mistakes or challenges that you see business owners and entrepreneurs have, let's say starting out? I won't be so broad as they have been seasoned, but starting out that perhaps they haven't thought about before, you know, engaging in actually being an entrepreneur. What are the red flags and things that a new entrepreneur should be aware of? And that I know the list is long, but
we could spend weeks on that one, but I'll give you the top three. Number one, being too cheap, meaning not charging enough for their services, not building in, because when you go from, you know, if you go from real estate investing where you got the one or the two and you're doing that, when you turn it into a business, now you got expenses, now you got staffing, you can't be pricing too low. You got to build in that. And that's where I see most startup businesses, they think, well, I can do it cheaper than the next guy. You don't want to be the cheapest. You actually want to be, ideally, you want to be the most expensive. You want to be at that top end of the spectrum, because business isn't about revenues, it's about profits. And the only way to make profits is to make sure that you are getting value. You know, as a wise man once said, if you solve rich people problems, you make rich people money. You've got to be more towards that top end. Being the best of the best would be the ideal scenario of business. Number two, they want to do it all themselves. They think they're going to save money by doing it themselves. And ultimately, saving a wage will cost you a fortune. You know, it really comes back to having professionals. I remember my first ever property development. You know, I didn't know what I was doing, and I was building a 4-pack of apartments, and I brought in all the professionals to help me do it. And by the end of it, I thought, hey, I don't really need to do anything. And to me, that was like, yes, I'm successful. I didn't need to do it, and it still made me money. Last night, I was on the phone with one of the town planners who we're doing another development in Australia right now, and we think we'll get somewhere between 67 and 73 apartments approved on this one particular development. But this guy, Jay, he knows more than I do. He's better than me at this job by a mile. I know what questions to ask, but I don't know how to actually do it and do the answers. And he's also got the patience to deal with all of the wonderful people at the city, which I probably don't have that level of patience anymore. But you've got to hire people better than you. You've got to hire people better than you. You know, and that's a big part of it. And I think that we try and be, you know, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. It's not much more complex than that. So number one, be a better, you know, better pricing, higher pricing. Number two, hire great people. Then you can afford, the better pricing allows you to afford great people. But number three, and this is going to impact a lot of people, and it's part of why I wanted to be on your show today, raise capital. You don't need to bootstrap it. The old, well, I keep hearing these words, you know, hustle and grind. You got to hustle and grind. No, hustle and grind is the new stupid. You know, you've got to build the capital to be able to build the business. And to build the capital, you got to write the plan. You got to have the, you know what I mean? You got to have it thought through. And if let's imagine, Jay, you came to me with a business plan, right? and you then went to 49 other very successful business people, and you asked 50 successful business people to invest in your business, and you showed them your plan, and 50 of them said no, there's probably a pretty good chance you got to rethink your plan.
There's a pretty good chance you should not do that plan.
But if you showed, but this is where, and again, back to the team. If imagine you, Jay, me, Bill Gates, well, let's leave Bill out for now. He's in the negative books right now. You, me, Warren Buffett, and Elon Musk put a business plan together. In fact, we didn't even tell people what was in the business plan. We just said, it's Brad Sugars, it's Jay, it's Elon, it's Warren Buffett. They're going to start a business. Do you want to invest? You know what people are going to say? Yes, yes. And they say, what's the business? We're not telling you. You just get to choose. Do you want to invest with these 4 successful people? That's what ends up happening. You know, I think that people, and this is a big part of raising capital, it's your track record. It's who you are. It's what you've done. It's people got to believe in you. They're investing in you. They trust you. And the reason I can raise capital when I go to do things is because 3 things, actually. Number one, I built a database. I've built a database over my entire life by teaching, by meeting people, by networking. I have a database of people that when I go to do stuff, I say, hey, I'm doing this. Anyone interested? Guess what happens? People are interested. Like I've just started our new AI platform to teach people how to run their business. And we're about to raise $6 million for that one. And I'll go out to the database and I will be oversubscribed in the first 17 minutes. I guarantee it. As soon as I email a database, it'll be like, done, we're in. Why? Because of my track record, because of what I've done. But I built the database, I built a track record, and guess what? I made some people some money. You know, it's amazing how when you make some people some money, you get them to tell the world, and hey, presto, that's the thing. But you know, whether I raise capital through franchising, whether I raise it through joint ventures, whether I raise it direct in shares, whichever methodology, we bring capital to the table, because if you're going to run a business, it's going to need capital.
There's a lot that you said, Brad, that I want to unpack, but one thing that you said really rings home to me, and it's because it's the way I screwed up. So the way I screwed up when I started running my business and owning it up, I felt like nobody else could do what I'm doing as good as I'm doing it. I guess I'm a guy that has testosterone, right? And that's just the way we think. Nobody else can do this as good as me. And I found myself running around with my hair on fire for about 12 hours a day. And I woke up about a year into this and I said, wait a minute, Jay, I thought you quit that over there to start your own thing over here and have some freedom and have some time and set your own schedule. And why is it a year down the road, I'm working 3 times as harder than I did when I had somebody else give me a check. And this was not my plan.
Yeah. My joke on that one, Jay, is you thought you worked for an idiot before.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And so I set out on a mission, Brad, after I was in this for about a year, to automate everything in the world I could. And what's the definition of automation, at least for me, is I'm either outsourcing to people or I'm outsourcing to technology and software that makes all of our lives so much easier. And so, for example, the proprietary software that we use for me to communicate with my entire team, like in real estate investing, I've got the same acquisitionist for 19 years that talks to all the sellers, and I've got the contractors, and I've got the realtors. We all communicate in the same software. I never speak to my acquisitionist, Kim, unless it's her birthday, anniversary, or Thanksgiving, and I'm just wishing her well. And so what I discovered, Brad, is that for goodness sakes, most of the team members that I brought in to start doing stuff that I was doing, they do it better than I ever was doing it myself. And so, you know, I found out the more I get out of the way and just be the 3D guy, which stands for dictate, delegate, disappear, and show back up when they least expect it. Yeah. it just seems like I got my life back. And you know what's funny? The less I actually implement and take action on those tasks, the more money I make.
The definition, or my definition, of a business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. If you have to be there, it's not a business, it's a job, and you work for a lunatic. Let's be blunt about that. Most people don't build a business, they build a job, and they're stuck in there. They trap themselves with the business. The point of, and we take people through a 6-step phase. We built the recipe. When I wrote the book, The Business Coach, it was about the recipe for how we grow successful companies. And when I wrote that book, we'd already coached 13,500 business people to success. So it wasn't theoretical. It was, this is what we do. And so we take them through the 4 areas of mastery to create a commercial enterprise. We take them through the 5 ways of marketing to get the cash flow running in the business. Then we take a look at the 9 steps to systemization of the business, then the 6 keys to a winning team, and then the 5 disciplines of scale. And then we hit the freedom choice of, do you let the business run without you, or do you build an exitable business? And I think, Jay, that, you know, the way you build systems in your business is the way we built a system for building businesses. And that's the success factor I love giving people, is like, this is, you know, as hundreds of thousands of companies have now gone before you following this system. If you follow it, you'll build a great business too, because you'll become a great business owner, not just a great technician in your own business.
Yeah, I want to own my business. I don't want my business to own me, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Brad, brilliant insights. I could talk to you for 4 more hours, but we're out of time. But I know the audience wants to continue the conversation with you about your coaching, business coaching, becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a better entrepreneur. Think of all the entrepreneurs out there listening to this show that feel like they have created another job for themselves. They feel like they're inside actually a cage. If you're listening to my voice right now, how would you like to have someone help you create an exit strategy to where you can actually have your business that is saleable? If you don't think your business is saleable, I guarantee you Brad and his team can help you out. Brad, how can they reach out to you?
BradSugars.com to get the training stuff, or actioncoach.com if they want to jump over and get a coaching session. But they can, look, here's the real interesting thing is, I love to help people learn and grow. And if for the next 90 days, I spent a half an hour with someone, and let's just say we had lunch together. Now, of course, I'm not going to show up every day for half an hour, but during COVID, I built myself a TV studio because I was bored, and I spent 30 days filming stuff about how to grow a successful business, 30 days on how to build success in life, this life success principles and strategies, and then 30 days on how to build wealth in your business. So build a business plan, a life plan, and a wealth plan over 90 days. So that 90 days is what I think everyone should do. Jump with me, come spend 90 days with me. And there's a super special deal if people click the link on yours, Jay. It's, instead of it being $3,000, we've given it to everyone for $297 right now. That's one-time payment. They can watch it as many times as they want. But lunch with me for 90 days might, well, they might start speaking Australian, but you never know. Maybe it'll change the way they think, and therefore it'll change the way their life works out.
I love it. Brad, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your expertise. Thank you so much.
Love being here, Jay. Thanks for all the work you do.
You got it. And there you have it, another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. I'm Jay Conner. So glad you joined us. If you happen to be watching or listening, rather, on iTunes, Spotify, any of your favorite podcast platforms, be sure and follow me so you don't miss out on upcoming episodes. And if you happen to be watching on YouTube, be sure and subscribe, like, and share. Be sure and click that bell on YouTube so you don't miss out on the upcoming episodes. I'm Jay Conner, wishing you all the best, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you right here on the next episode of Raising Private Money.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/money guide. That's JCONNER.com/money guide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconnor.com/money guide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Connor.